Hola! Hi everyone, hi to my Spanish learning community. It's Jennifer from Fine Fluency and I'm here with your mini lesson 8. It's your 8th weekly mini lesson. Can you believe that? I can't quite believe it's been 8 weeks. And today we're concentrating on el verbo ser, the verb ser. So, en esta lección vamos a aprender cómo conjugar el verbo ser en el presente. So having a little look at how to conjugate the verb ser in the present tense. And then, cómo y cuándo usar este verbo. So how, cómo, and when, cuándo, to use the verb. Lo que necesitas, what you need, como siempre es un boli o un lápiz y papel. So all you need is a pen or a pencil and some paper. Okay? You don't need anything fancy to take part in this. So, ser, to be. Remember that we have 2 verbs to be in Spanish. If you've been following the group and you've been maybe watching the Facebook Lives and so on, we've done a little bit of work on this already. And if you've done the lesson on the other verb for to be, which is estar, a few weeks ago, then you will be aware that we have 2 verbs to be in Spanish. So estar's one. Can you remember the other? Obviously, it's ser. Okay? And the verb ser and its uses are really the focus of the lesson today. So, empezamos y repasamos. So let's make a start and let's do a little bit of revision. Repasamos. Can you remember the subject pronouns? Now, if you at this point have not done the lesson from a few weeks ago on estar, I suggest that you maybe pause this and go back a couple of lessons and do that lesson first. That will very much help you with this exercise here. Right, so if you haven't done that, that will take about 15 minutes, and I suggest maybe it's worthwhile doing that first before you have a look at this. For those of you that have done that, you may not have seen subject pronouns since, therefore I thought it might be a useful exercise just to do a little bit of revision of the subject pronouns, okay? So it might be worthwhile maybe pausing at this point. I've got the Spanish subject pronouns on the left-hand side of the screen and they're numbered, and then I have the English ones on the right-hand side of the screen and they are lettered. Your answers here just have to be a number and a letter, matching them up. You don't have to write them all out. So just a number and a letter. You might want to pause and just take a quick note just now with your pen and paper, 1, D, or whatever you think it is, and so on. Okay, so pause now if you're going to do that. Right, great. Hopefully you're unpausing, you've done the exercise, you've unpaused, and we're just going to do the answers now. So number 1, we've got tú, and our answer for number 1 is F. You, and it's singular and it's informal. So if you're talking to one person, ¿cuántos años tienes? ¿Cómo estás? We're using the to form of the verb, okay? You, singular, informal. One person, and you know them quite well, or it's a relaxed situation. 2, then él, we should have I, which is he, okay? 3, vosotros, we should have di, you, it's plural and it's informal. So if you're talking to a group of people and it's an informal situation, or you know them quite well, you're going to use the vosotros form of the verb. Number 4, usted, we should have a, you, and it's singular and it's formal. So, you know, if you were in like a work situation or a job interview or something like that, you're definitely going to be using the usted form of the verb. Number 5, yo, we're going to match up with G, which is I. Number 6, ella, we're matching up with H, which is she. Number 7, ustedes, so you'll notice the similarity there between usted and ustedes. Ustedes then matches up with C, which is you, it's plural and it's formal. So again, if you're in more of a work setting and you're referring to people as you, you're going to use the ustedes form of the verb. 8, ellos and ellas, we are matching up with be, and it's they. So remember, ellos is the masculine, ellas is the feminine. And if you've done your pronunciation lesson, you'll know that double L is a U sound, yes. So ellos for a group of males, ellas for a group of females, and if you've got a mixed group of male and female, then we use the masculine form, which is ellos, okay? And then number 9, nosotros, we're matching up with E, which is we, last one. So 9E. Just very quickly run through those answers again. 1 is F, 2 is I, 3 is D, 4 is A, 5 is G, 6 is H, 7 is C, 8 is B, and 9 is E. Okay, moving on. Hopefully we've got most of them right if you've done those lessons, the last few lessons. Okay, ser, to be. The first thing that I think we really need to address when we're looking at this verb is, when do we use it? It's quite tricky, okay? When to use estar and when to use ser in Spanish are very difficult, and at times they are interchangeable, right? So at this stage, we keep to quite basic and simple rules as to when you will use the verb. The reason that we do that I do that with beginners, is just to get you into the habit of getting you to think and categorise different situations. Once you are more comfortable and you're further on in your learning and you've got a better understanding of how language works in general, then we can look a little bit more in depth in a more complicated and complex manner at when you may interchange both of these verbs. But at this point, I think it's really useful to have a set of sort of ready reckoner rules as to when to use estar and when to use ser. I find that using the acronym DOCTOR, or doctor, if we want to use the Spanish word, can be quite helpful when you're trying to learn when to use the verb ser in Spanish. Okay. I'm just going to pause for a second. I've got sunshine streaming in. Sorry, I'm back. I just had the sun streaming in my face, and I was going really, really bleached, and I was also getting a bit blinded there. So a nice sunny autumn day in Scotland today. Sorry. So I find the acronym DOCTOR can be really helpful when we're trying to use the verb, trying to learn when to use the verb ser in Spanish. So the D is for description, the O is for occupation, the C is for characteristic, the T is for time, the O, second O, is for origin, and the R is for relationship. Right, okay, great, Jennifer. We've got this lovely little acronym. What does that actually mean? Help me. Okay, so let's drill into it a little bit more so we're a bit more comfortable with it. So the D for description could be description of people, of places, and of things. So, por ejemplo, mi madre es baja. My mother, or my mum, is short or small. La ciudad es grande. The city or the town is big or large. O for occupation, talking about jobs and occupations. So, yo soy profesora. Mi hermano es abogado. Okay, so I'm a teacher, my brother's a lawyer. Using the verb ser there to describe occupations. Characteristics. This is a bit like the description. We're describing personality or character, what somebody's like. So, yo soy habladora. I'm talkative or chatty. Mis amigos son divertidos. My friends are fun or funny, right? And you'll notice here that I have highlighted in blue the first letter of the acronym, the DOCTOR thing. And then I've also highlighted in blue the parts of the verb ser, so that it's quite obvious to you and it highlights to you where we're using that verb. T for time then, for telling the time. Es la una, it's 1 o'clock. Son las 2:30, it's 2:30. O for origin, saying where people and things come from and nationalities. So John es de Inglaterra, es inglés. El vino es de Francia. So John is from England, es de Inglaterra, and es inglés, he's English. El vino es de Francia, the wine is from France. So talking about where something originates from, we use the verb ser. R for relationship then, saying who is who in relation to each other. So Paul es el marido de Jennifer. Paul is the husband of Jennifer, or Paul is Jennifer's husband, is what we would more naturally say in English. Irene es la abuela de Jack. Irene is Jack's grandmother, or Irene is the grandmother of Jack, por ejemplo. Okay? So, the verb itself, el verbo ser. Vamos a ver. So, yo soy. You might want to repeat these. Repetimos, okay? Para practicar la pronunciación en español. So, first one, soy. Let me hear you. Soy or yo soy. Second one, eres. Eres. Tú eres. Third one, es. Es. Es fácil. It's quite easy. Es. Fourth one, somos. Somos. Or nosotros somos. Sois. Sois. Or vosotros sois. And then son, last one. Son. Or ellos son, ellas son, ustedes son. Now remember, in Spanish, I've put my little subject pronouns in brackets there, okay? Remember, in Spanish, we don't always use subject pronouns. So in English, we obviously always say, I do this, I go there, you're listening to that, and so on. They don't always have the you and the I and the he and the she in front of it in Spanish. I use it quite a lot. You may have noticed that I use it quite a lot in my little clips that I'm doing sort of on a daily basis for you. And the reason for that is that at beginner level, I find sometimes it helps you to know who it is that's doing the action. So I'm quite often being quite explicit. But in everyday Spanish, they will not use these pronouns unless they really want to emphasize something. Or like, he likes that, but me, I don't like it, for example, something like that. Or just to avoid ambiguity, you know, if they're in a group and they just want to avoid being ambiguous over who's doing what, then they'll obviously use the subject pronouns as well. But generally, as a general rule, we don't use them, we don't need them. So yo soy, I am. Tú eres, or just eres, you are. Es, he or she is, or you are, if you're using the usted, es. Nosotros somos, we are. Vosotros sois, you are. Remember, that's our plural informal you, vosotros. And then son, they are, for ellos and ellas, son. And then ustedes son, you are. And that's the plural formal form of you. Okay? So soy, eres, es, somos, sois, son. I should probably point out at this stage as well that ser is an irregular verb in Spanish. So that means that it does not follow the sort of usual normal pattern of verbs, and we just kind of have to learn this off by heart. There are only really 6 parts of it, so we shouldn't really struggle with that too much with a bit of practice, and it is something that we use a lot, so we should see it a lot and we should use it a lot. Okay, so a little exercise then for you. Choosing the correct version of the verb to go in the gap. So we did this with the verb estar, and I think sometimes just familiarity with exercises helps to make it a little bit easier for you. When you're learning a new language, there's a lot of new things to learn, and you can get bombarded in a little bit of sensory overload with all the different resources that you can use. And sometimes I quite like just having a little familiarity and a little formula to how we learn. And you will get used to the kind of exercises that I'm putting in, and sometimes that can just help bed you in a little bit more. It relaxes you and it lets you concentrate on the important part, which is the actual language and the learning that's going on, right? So our options here, como son, como es, or como soy tu familia, right? I'm going to bring them up one by one, and then you can maybe pause the screen for a couple of minutes, have a think about it, maybe write down what you think your answers are, and we'll go over answers, right? So to choose one of these 3 options. Just want to point out with number 1 that familia in Spanish is a singular noun. So although in English we might say my family they are, right? Because although it's kind of not really correct either, we might say my family they are because it's sort of a collective noun in our heads because it's more than one person. But in Spanish, the noun familia is singular. Okay, so that might help you or inform your answer there a little bit, I think. So number 2, ¿de dónde eres? ¿De dónde sois? Or ¿de dónde son tus primos? So our first one, como, means how or what. It's basically asking, what are they like? Okay. Number 2, ¿de dónde? What does dónde mean again? Can we remember? Dónde means where. Okay, and primos are cousins, right? And then yo soy, yo es, or yo somos muy habladora. So habladora, we saw in the last slide or the one before, means talkative or chatty. Number 4, Mi piso, son, sois, or es bonito. And number 5, nosotros, sois, somos, or eres de Alemania. Okay, so mi piso for number 4 is my flat or my apartment. Okay, and bonito means nice or pretty. And then number 5, Alemania is Germany. If you've done the lesson on countries, you'll know that. Okay, so Alemania is Germany, so it's where somebody's from. Okay, right, it might be an opportunity now just to pause the slide, take a little minute just to think about your answers, maybe note them down. You don't have to, again, you don't have to write the whole sentence. You can just write down the word that you think is correct that you're wanting to put in. Okay, so I'll give you a wee minute just to pause before I go on to the next slide, which has answers. Okay, moving on. Las respuestas, las soluciones to our answers then. Okay, answers for this. So number 1, we should have chosen es here. ¿Cómo es tu familia? Right? What is your family like? It's a singular noun. So although in English we may be tempted to say ¿Cómo son tu familia? What are your family like? We really need ¿Cómo es in Spanish. What is your family like? How are your family? Right? Number 2, ¿De dónde son tus primos? So where are your cousins from? Okay? Where are they? Tus primos. If you're struggling with this, the way around it is to think about how you would refer to tus primos. So tus primos are your cousins. If you were talking about your cousins, would you refer to them as I? No. As you? Not really. As he or she? No, it's plural. As we? Not really. As they? Yes. So if you have to strip it back to that. If you were talking about your cousins, how would you refer to them in a sentence? And then you have to find that part of the verb. So the they part of ser is son. Don't worry, right? Because I know that probably at this point I might be losing some people. So just try not to worry if that's you and you're sitting there going, that made no sense to me. I have absolutely no clue what's going on there. Please don't worry about it too much. We haven't done a lot of work on verbs. This is really the second verb you've looked at. It's a difficult one and it's irregular, which doesn't help, right? So just don't panic. Bear with us. Stick with it. We will be seeing more verbs as the lesson series go on, and hopefully it will come to you. You just have to keep working. Number 3, yo soy muy habladora, right? So that was quite an easy one, actually. You just need to look at your verb that's written down. Yo soy, and that's you. Yo soy muy habladora. I am very chatty. 4, mi piso, so my apartment. Son, sois, or es bonito. Our correct answer is es. My apartment is nice. Number 5, nosotros, sois, somos, or eres de Alemania. We are from Germany, and that's nosotros somos de Alemania. And you'll see here, for the purposes of this exercise, I've included the yo and the nosotros here. And again, that is really just for the purposes of practice and of doing this exercise. Okay, well done, guys. You survived the verb ser. Y hoy hemos aprendido el verbo ser, cómo y cuándo usarlo. And un poco más vocabulario, a little bit more vocab. We've seen a couple of new words that we haven't come across before. Okay, los deberes, a little bit of homework for you then. Just the same as the homework for Estar, and it's the same with a lot of the grammar. Seek out some written or online exercises which will help you recycle and remember the present tense of ser. I almost said past tense there, getting ahead of myself. The present tense of ser. And also to start thinking about whether to use ser or estar when you're maybe forming sentences, when you're practicing, when you're using language, when you're doing some writing, when you're trying to talk. Should I be using ser? Should I be using estar? Think about the rules that we've learned. Think about the points that we've covered and try and make sure that you're using the correct verb. Okay? Thank you so much for taking part today. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson and you've taken something from it. And I will be seeing you next week with mini lesson number 9. Adios.